Top of the morning to you. Today, we're heading to medieval Ireland, where we'll be making one of their staples. Almost covered the vegetables. Whoa. And I'm gonna make a mess.
You're acting like me. What are you doing?
So, hey, that's perfect. About a half gallon worth. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the little bell, and join us on our journey cooking through history. That's right, we're in medieval Ireland. Not really, but let's pretend. So we're making a cabbage recipe. That's right, that was one of their staples, especially back in those times in the 14th, 15th century. And since this whole week, we've been doing a lot of, Irish St. Patrick's Day, since it's March and it's coming up. We thought, what is the history? I know we looked into St. Patrick's Day, and it's actually very interesting. It started in Florida at St. Augustine, but it wasn't St. Augustine. Back in those days, it was still part of the Spanish settlements.
Yeah, it was like the 1600s.
Yeah, like 1601. Pretty early. I had no clue that St. Patrick's Day
went back that far.
But we were trying to figure out what was one of their staples, and unfortunately, it's either cabbage, corned beef, potatoes. But we decided to make this cabbage. Did a lot of research and found this kind of interesting, but it seems like a very flavorful recipe from the medieval times. Except that the only thing is they really don't use salt. But they did use stocks and broths, because once you cook this down, it will make a nice vegetable broth. They would eat all the stuff, save the broth, and reuse it. So it's kind of cool. So the first thing, we got some butter. We're gonna throw in our cauldron.
Ooh, butter.
Butter, believe it. And to that, we got just rough chopped onions. We're gonna let that kind of start sweating down. Go ahead and throw in a little garlic. And it's really cool. I mean, they knew how to build flavors. Now we also have a leek, which was typical. I went ahead and split it, washed it, because a lot of times with leeks you can get dirt. So the easiest way is just split it, rinse it off, let it dry, and then there you go. And we're just gonna kind of do a rough chop with these leeks as well. It's great about medieval times, no Gordon Ramsay to critique you.
Yeah, they probably weren't being too precise.
So, and some people say, well, don't use the greens, but back in those days, they would have used everything they had. So we're gonna use the greens, and we're gonna be cooking this down for a while, and so they'll tender up just fine. Throw that to our pot. All right, these are getting sweat. And this is really easy, and I think that's kind of the whole thing, is you can make a big giant pot of this back in those days, and that was where you got a lot of your nutrients, and then maybe with a little bit of bread, a little bit of salted meat, and then there you go, that's a meal. But I was impressed to see that they do kind of layer their flavors and use their aromatics, and like garlic, and of course the leeks and the onions. And then we're just using a small head of cabbage. So we're gonna throw that guy in. And again, it's rough chop. I know there's some people that like they'll do the long strips, or they'll do different ways, but typically, again, this was just a good everyday fare. So they would just chop, throw it to the pot, put it over the fire, and let it go. All right. We're gonna give this a little toss with those veggies. That looks good. It's that simple. Of course, living in medieval times, you'd probably want it that simple.
Yeah.
And now we got some veggie stock that we've had. And so I'm just gonna add this to basically almost cover the vegetables. Whoa. And I'm gonna make a mess.
You're acting like me. What are you doing?
So, hey, that's perfect. About a half gallon worth.
Awesome.
And to that, we have a little bit of rosemary.
Ooh.
Just nestle down in there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, of course, they would put it over their fire, hang it above the hearth, or just above fire. So yeah, you can make this wherever you want, as long as you got heat. So we're gonna kind of bring this to a boil, and then we'll turn it down to a simmer for about 30 to 45 minutes until the cabbage is nice and tender. So we'll see you then. Our timer went off. We did it for about 45 minutes. Well, exactly 45 minutes. But here it is. This is our medieval cabbage. And I'm gonna tell you, for not having any salt or anything, just the aromatics, the smells in here are just overwhelming. I mean, it is very surprising.
Yeah, it really
turned out
smells super good, honestly.
So, but it's that simple. So I'm kind of excited. I mean, you know, I got some Irish heritage, so obviously I like cabbage. So we're gonna pull out our rosemary. We'll toss that. Give it a little stir. Ooh, I'm gonna tell you what, this broth is probably gonna be so good after this. Make any kind of soup. I mean, just use it for anything. Or drinking broth, a vegetarian, what is the popular thing these days? Pho or pho? Would be really good. All right. We've got our little vessel here. And of course, if you wanted, you could make a little corned beef with it. It would be great. All right, who's ready to try the medieval cabbage?
I am.
All right, get your butt over here.
Alrighty.
Oof. This is good, this is good. Here's a fork.
It's cabbage time.
Indeed. All right, now, we're gonna say it needs salt.
Probably.
But it just smells so good. Like,
It really does. It smells, you can really smell the rosemary.
yeah,
honestly.
the rosemary, those leeks and everything. It's just so powerful.
Yeah. I mean, no, honestly, that's pretty, that's better than I thought.
Yes, actually, that is very surprisingly good. Well,
I can't believe that actually tastes that good.
I know. I mean, it is just on the simple, on the vegetables, from the garlic, the onion, the leek, and of course your cabbage,
Yeah.
and the vegetable stock that we put in it that was basically leftover stock from another batch.
Yeah,
This is pretty darn good.
it is.
Man. I'm telling you what, I'm gonna try.
What are we trying?
I just want to try the broth with
Oh, okay, yeah.
after it cooking for so long. Ah, it smells so good. Oh,
How's that broth?
yeah, that's wicked. That's like, whew. Okay, just yeah, try it. It's blowing my mind. That's some good stuff.
Wow.
See, who knew? We think all the way into today. We're the smartest ones, but these guys back in the Middle Ages,
Yeah,
yeah, they knew how to make some cabbage.
they did. You could throw some chicken in there.
No. Make put some root vegetables in there, make a big vegetable stew.
Yeah, that broth would be perfect if you're feeling a little ill.
I know,
You
okay.
just needed to get something down.
Oh, next time I get a cold or something, and I'm gonna ask for this.
Yeah, it's not a bad recipe to do.
I'm telling you what, this is really good. And I know some of the history recipes may be a little different. I know the mock turtle soup was.
Yeah, it was.
But I highly recommend trying this one. It's really good. All you might need is a little more salt,
Yep.
or
Little
add
pepper.
a little salt, and a little pepper, but other than that, you really don't. And that broth is amazing.
It really is awesome.
So remember, you can get the recipe down in the description below. Just like all our recipes, we put them in the descriptions.
Yes,
so
we do.
check them out, and join us next Sunday on our journey cooking through history. Because I got to clean up. I made a mess for the first time ever. No, you can work your magic. We figured it out last night. We'll figure it out. I will
I
come.
have 3 or 4 to choose
Okay,
from.
well,